This is the chapter 14 of Akbar Birbal stories book, A Forest Without Animals. Emperor Akbar was very fond of hunting. Whenever there was high pressure of work in the court, he would retire and go out of the capital to spend some time in a forest chasing animals and hunting them. Hundreds of men beating drums would surround a part of the forest and drive the animals towards the emperor. Akbar would hunt them sitting safely on the back of his elephant. He would shoot at the animals with his spear or bow and arrows. Akbar would kill many animals in one single day. When the others would shower their praise on the emperor for his marksmanship, Birbal would remain quiet. He did not like the emperor killing the animals thoughtlessly. He felt sorry for the animals who did no harm to human beings, and the human beings always took pleasure in killing such helpless animals. Birbal did not like to accompany Akbar for hunting, but Akbar always insisted that Birbal should also go with him for hunting. One day, Akbar was riding his elephant in a forest. Birbal was riding another elephant. Akbar was hunting as usual and had ordered Birbal to come along. This time, Birbal had an idea. Suddenly, Akbar noticed that Birbal had dismounted from his elephant. "Where is Birbal?" Akbar asked his bodyguard. The bodyguard pointed his finger towards a tree. "He is standing there under a tree, Your Majesty," the bodyguard said. "What is he looking at in the tree?" asked Akbar. "It seems he is looking at birds." "Birbal, come here," called Akbar. When Birbal arrived, the emperor asked him, "What were you looking at in the tree?" "The birds." "Your Majesty," replied Birbal, "I was listening to the birds." Akbar began to laugh. He asked, "Well, what did the birds say to you?" "They were not talking to me," said Birbal. "They were talking among themselves," said Birbal. "You mean to say that they were talking something very interesting?" asked Akbar. "Exactly, Your Majesty," said Birbal. "Well, can you tell me what they were talking about?" asked Akbar. "One of the two birds has a son and the other has a daughter," said Birbal. "The father of the male bird was demanding a forest from the father of the female bird as dowry." "A forest?" Akbar asked with a surprise. "Birds too demand dowry, and that too a forest? Never heard of." Akbar and all the others began to laugh. "So, did the other bird agree to give a forest?" asked Akbar. "Yes, but the male bird's father refused," replied Birbal. "Why did the male bird's father refuse to accept a forest that the female bird's father agreed to give as a dowry?" asked Akbar. "Because the male bird's father was demanding a forest devoid of all kinds of animal," said Birbal. "How could there be a forest without animals?" asked Akbar. "It's an unusual demand. At least I am not aware of any forest which is without animals." "But very interestingly, the female bird's father agreed to this also," said Birbal. "But where will he find such a forest?" asked Akbar. "This forest, Your Majesty, and none other," said Birbal. "You mean this forest?" asked Akbar. "But it is full of animals of all kinds." "Yes, Your Majesty," said Birbal. "This forest is full of animals, but the female bird's father said that very soon this forest would be bare of all animals. He said, this will happen as a result of emperor's merciless killing of animals. Soon a day will come when there would not be a single animal left in this forest." Others who had gathered around Akbar's elephant began to laugh. However, the emperor became serious. "Now I understand what you want to say, Birbal," said Akbar. "You could not tell me to stop killing animals, and so you adopted this method to convey your feelings." Birbal became silent. Akbar's courtiers and others too became silent. They thought that the emperor would definitely become very unhappy with Birbal for suggesting to him to stop hunting. But contrary to everybody's expectations, the emperor smiled and said, "Let us go back home. I am no more interested in hunting. Now I feel I was killing the helpless animals unnecessarily. Let these poor animals now live happily in the forest." The emperor was happy to know that his courtier Birbal had love and compassion for the animals too.